You are tuned in to the Miriam Makwan.
You are listening to the Miriam Makwan show on Salam Media. It is 11 minutes after 11 on this Wednesday, the 9th of December 2020. Right, so before we start with this interview, I'd just like to let those who are sensitive to not tune in. You can go do something else. But if you do want to hear the story of Zodwa Dlamini, then you can stay tuned. We're going to be talking about breaking the silence, where she will be sharing her story and her ordeal and what happened to her as a young child. As the story goes, she was raped as a child, as a teenager, and then as an adult. She was kidnapped by a serial killer and then raped after the abductor showed her the bodies of his victims. And she was also abducted by a taxi boss who then raped her for another 2 weeks. And she remains unbroken, a survivor, a victor, and an overcomer. And she's here to share her story with the world. Good morning, Zodwa.
Morning, Myriad, and morning to the listeners.
Zodwa, first of all, I'd like to thank you for coming forward, for your courage, and for sharing your story with us and with the rest of the world. Now, you went through a very traumatic, very traumatic incidences in your life. I mean, raped as a child, a teenager, and then an adult. How did it all start, and how old were you when it started?
Okay, maybe thank you very much. And maybe I must say thank you very much for the opportunity that is given unto me to actually connect with the world in relation to my story. I long wish to share my story with everyone, but unfortunately, there were those fears. I was engulfed with a lot of other fears and some emotions, and I couldn't, even though I was talking about it. But I would say to you, it started when I was very young, at a very tender age. I was born by parents who were once prominent figures in the community. My father once competed for a mayoral position. And what happened there is that, they were owning a general dealer. You know that there are a number of commodities that you keep in your store. If you are a general dealer, you're not restricted. So they were selling wood, paraffin, coal, every, general commodities. And they had servants that they hired that would run errands for my parents. And one of the days, and they were part of our family. They knew how we used to live because everyone, it was like a survival of the fittest. My father was busy with politics at the time, 1970s, going around with Bompepu, Patudi, at the time. And then my mother was always in the shop. You wouldn't see us. If we talk, it's because there's something wrong that you've done and you are just given a hiding. So they have learned, how things are happening in the family. So in this one day, when I was like playing my skipping rope in the house, and there came one guy, I'm calling him Smogo in the book because it was the beginning of trouble. And he approached me saying, "Auntie wants to see you. He's calling for you." And it was quite an excitement to me because I was hardly with my parents, no intimacy whatsoever. And because they were chasing money, very busy with the community, taking good care of every other person outside the home without us, basically being taken care of and being close. The only time we used to come together with parents, it was when we were going to visit other relatives. Probably they have a shop also and would have that dinner in Sunday. And that's it. Monday back to business as usual where they are busy. So this Smogo comes to me. He says, "Auntie is looking for you." I was quite excited to hear that. And okay, what for? I didn't ask, but I followed him because he says to me, "Follow me." And I followed him. He went to the different direction. Normally out from the kitchen door, we would turn right when you are going outside the gate. But that time he turned to the left. And at the end of the house, he pushed me towards the door, actually against the door. When I was trying to, I was so astonished. I was wondering what is happening. And then he grabbed me into the chicken pen, chicken coop. And they forced me right there, pushed me on the ground. He raped me. I didn't know what was happening. I couldn't scream because he had already told me, if you shout, I'm going to kill you. And if you tell anyone, I will kill you. I believed him because he was an adult. So those words were so much in my head. They began to ruin me right then. And I couldn't. My body was there, but my mind was never there. I was wondering what is happening. I remember that my mind kept on thinking about the skipping rope that I was using, And after that, he said, go back to the. Then I said, where is Ma? Where is my mother? He said, Auntie's going to beat you. Because they knew the life that we were only beaten. We would talk with parents when we are being beaten or because we have done something wrong. And then I went back to the house, I was dirty, grab water and soap, trying to wash away, but I couldn't wash away the experience. I couldn't wash away the trauma. I was wondering what the hell is happening on earth. I was a child. I couldn't give a lot of meaning or maybe think so much about it. And fast forwarding to the next incident, there I'm sleeping. That was another ordeal now. I was sleeping on the bed. Well, with the first one, nobody asked me. I never said anything. I couldn't talk about it because he said he's going to kill me if I tell. So I couldn't tell anybody. Even on the same day when my parents came from work, from the shop, nobody thought there's anything that happened to me. I never showed any sign. I'm not sure whether I showed any signs. But then the second, fast forwarding to the next one, because the details are more in the book. Yeah. You have got time and it's limited, so I have to cover almost all my incidents to the listeners. Fast forwarding to the second one, when I was around the age of 10, because I haven't bothered honestly to count, to say when did this happen, how old I was. I'm just estimating the ages. It was few months after the first one, if I remember very well. There I was sleeping. It was in the afternoon. There was nobody in the house because even the domestic workers, the assistants in the house that would assist, if it's busy, they would leave the house and go and assist in the shop. So I was alone in the house, sleeping on my bed. I thought I was dreaming. Or I was seeing a ghost. But one thing that flooded the house, the room where I was, because we were sharing the rooms, we did not have a luxury of having your own bedroom. So I smelled this odor. It was a smell in the whole room. What is happening? There, this man, this guy is standing in front of me and he's pointing at my face. He's pointing towards me and saying, "Do it, shh, keep quiet. Don't say anything. Don't say anything." And then he started unwrapping, and he undressed the overall that he was wearing. Because when he came in, the overall, he had tied his overall on his waist. So he undressed, took down his overall, and he was on me. He raped me. I can tell you as I speak with you, Maria, I can smell the odor because every perpetrator of mine had his own odor. And then he was on me. I connected immediately. I connected with what happened to me behind the house in the kitchen coop. And he was off he went. He said at the door, "If you dare tell Auntie, I will kill you." And I believed him. I was wondering, did they really talk about this? Or did they discuss that there is something obtainable in Zodwa or whatever? Okay. Even at night, I slept, I was shivering, I was wondering, I had all these mixed feelings. Should I tell, not tell? But if I tell, I'm gonna die. So I'd rather not tell because I've been told not to anyone. Fast forwarding one of the days again, I'm talking about the third incident whereby a prominent figure in the community, a well-respected man driving a Porsche car. I know that my parents were also once drove, I would say so, once drove. My father was the first guy to drive Dodge Monaco in the area and to have a Bedford because they were quite wealthy and doing very well. They were workaholics. And then I'm told there's this guy, little boy, coming to me. He says, knock, knock, Zodwa, Babu Soren. So he's calling, I nearly uttered the surname. I'm keeping the name and the surname for now, until it's safe to do so. I'm close to the kids for this man. And for whatever reason, he's calling for mom, excited. He said, no, please take your poems, because I used to write poems and say those poems when particularly somebody has passed away. And just when I was going out, I saw this car is parked the house. A prominent figure, a leader in this community is calling for me. I was excited as a child, because it was an honor if this man would ask, just touch you, let alone asking you to come into the car. And then off he drove, and he never said anything. He never asked my parents. He just went away with me. He's not asking me how I am. At that time, I'm this short, and my feet are not even touching the ground. Off he went with me to another location. Imlazi Township is made up of sections. I was staying in section E, so he drove to section B because I was used to different sections. Drove to section B, and then this house, it's a typical four-room house, and he opened the door, ushered me inside. I'm looking around, like a strange. It's so strange in this area. I'm like wondering. I could see that you could see in my face that I was truly wondering where I am, where am I? And in the door, when I entered, on my right hand side there was a window, and on the right hand side again there was a bed. You can say it's a single or a three-quarter bed because it was not a double bed. And immediately on my left hand side there was a bedroom. So it's this typical four-room house where if you go to the kitchen you use steps. And then I'm sitting there on this bed. There's only a sheet, on the bed. I would say, allow me to say, it was a dirty sheet. Even the curtain was an ugly curtain. The house is vacant. Nobody is staying there. He's ushering me to sit on this bed. Then I sit on the bed. I'm still looking around this house. And then he goes up using the steps. When he went up, he was on his suit. But when he came back, when he returned back, he's on his under trouser. Those small little, we call it skinned, a short pant kind of, but it's an under trouser, very, it's loose on the legs. He's wearing this and he's coming straight to me, and then he grabs me. He pushes me against the bed, and he opens my legs and he sleeps with me. I'm not even asking, what are you doing, Baba? Because he was a parent, he was a father to me, and a very respectable man. I'm not even asking anything. He's just, the boat is there. I was freezing. I don't know whether I was dead or I was alive, but I was numb. The emotions, I was like, what is happening in my mind? The kitchen cook was there. The bed where the second perpetrator also came when I was sleeping. My mind was so filled with a lot of things, and I was wondering, what is happening? What is happening? And then after that, he gives me, when he finished, he gives me a cloth. He says I must wipe myself. I took the cloth, I washed, I wiped myself. I don't know where the cloth was taken to. And then I put back my painty. I honest with you, I've never opened the shelf to say, did I take off my painting or did he take off my paint? Those are some of the nitty-gritties that I sometimes don't like to go to, but I've unpacked a lot of things in the book.
All
And
right,
then he told me,
we're going to take a quick break, but we'll continue when we return. I'd like to know if your family knew, did you tell your family, and how did they react? And were they supportive towards you? And did they assist you through your journey to recovery? But hold that thought, and we will continue when we return.
Penny Appeal's Breakfast Club aim to get a warm, hearty meal to underprivileged children so they can spend the day prospering in their schoolwork. Help feed a needy learner by visiting our website on www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573 to find out how you can donate. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Freedom Stationery supply Marlin and Marlin Kids pens to me and my school friends. They supply just about everything we need to help us get a better education,
Yes.
from books to files to rulers. In fact, any any accessory we need. Freedom Stationery. Education for the nation. What does accessory mean?
Fabric Direct, now open at 224 Brickfield Road, Overport, Durban, offering you a variety of dress fabrics, curtaining, upholstery, wallpaper, and deco. Fabric Direct, quality, price, and a range that speaks for itself. 224 Brickfield Road, Overport, Durban. Fabric Direct, definitely worth a visit.
Cape Town Tours. Luxury service at affordable prices. Anytime, anywhere. Services include airport transfers, sightseeing, customized full-day tours, Islamic historical site tours. This is Kramaats, mosques, Boerkaap, etc. Long-distance trips available like West Coast, Mykonos, Hermanus Garden Route, etc. All transport in and around Cape Town to meet your needs. Very versatile and flexible. Safe and reliable transport in an air-conditioned luxury car. Contact Gulam on 071 346 7069 or 074 191 6144.
Salam Media abides by a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code of conduct, we're committed to give news that is accurate, comments that is fair, and program that is not harmful to children and does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. If you think we're not living up to that code, contact the station on 011 680 0355 or email your complaints to info@salammedia.com.
This is Salam Media, and you are tuned into the Miriam.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Mari Mukwanda Show on Salam Media, and we are chatting to author Zodwa Dlamini, who is breaking the silence on sexual violence and rape and sharing her story with us. And earlier, we listened to the very graphic nature of how these rapes occurred, but we're not going to get into that anymore because she has been through more rapes than the ones that she shared with us previously. And if you are sensitive, this is not for sensitive listeners, so please bear with us for now and you can come back later. All right, Zodwa, thank you for staying with us. And before the break, I asked you about your family because they were always so busy. They were public people. They had businesses to run and attend to. Did you tell them about what had happened to you? Did they support you? Where did you get the help from to recovery and the help and support?
Basically, I would say, Miriam, it was a very strange family, especially after my parents were wealthy and they lost almost everything. The relationship was never there with my parents, as I alluded earlier on to say. We would just communicate with them if we are going out to have meals with friends and family, other families. But it was not easy actually to tell it to. Besides the traumatizing words that my perpetrators would always utter to me to say, should you dare tell, we will kill. We never had a relationship with my parents, to be honest. And I have a warning for parents who are always busy, I never obtained even a chance to tell my sisters because, of fear of being judged. It's a shame, it's a taboo thing, and you were known as a liar. I mean, you can imagine a prominent person like that one who actually competed for a mayoral position with my dad. If you dare tell that a 15-year-old, has been raped by this man, I mean, every society, they would ban my parents' home if they had, because they used to love people. They would love people in position at the detriment of you as a victim. It's a pit. I'm no longer calling myself as a victim because I've overcame. I'm a hero. That's how I feel I am, and it was not easy to tell, honestly, because I felt I was a target and I would be targeted as well if I tell. I mean, I would be called a liar. I mean, names were enough for me to carry than to now carry a shame of being known as a liar, after I know very well that these are the experiences that I've gone through. So it wasn't very easy to tell. It wasn't easy at all. And the circumstance at home was terrible, especially after the loss of everything, because everything happened after my parents has lost their wealth, had lost a lot of things, their dignity, everything, because even the shop, the losing of the shop, it had a lot to do with politics, if I may say. Because our lawyer was Mr. Mxenge, the late Griffiths Mxenge. We're actually fighting for my father to actually restore or recover the shop back to him. So there was a lot that was happening. It was not easy at all. Instead, my life deteriorated drastically because I had to carry my other brothers as well and sisters and those that are before me and behind me. I was literally carrying them financially because my parents were not doing well at all. My father tried to go and work as a security and he was expelled, because he was not used to working, to being hired, to being a worker. He was used to be hiring workers, and giving them opportunities. So it was very much of a strange family.
And wow, Zodwa, it's a lot to take in, and but you still remain an overcomer, unbroken, a victor, and such an inspiration to all those who are listening at the moment. I mean, it's so much that one person can go through. I mean, just one rape ordeal is a lot. Now, multiple.
Yes.
How did this affect you mentally?
I must be honest, when the family decided that they must take me to another area now, it's still in KZN, but I was taken away I was moved because I became a school dropout. I was a clever girl, but eventually I got impacted negatively. I was always hysteric. People would believe that I'm bewitched. because I used to be hysteric on the roads, crying and screaming as if I'm seeing ghosts and the like. Life was terrible, Myriad. And the listeners, it was, and the viewers, it was terrible. So when I went I was moved to stay in Newcastle with my sister-in-law. I thought things were over. Probably I've changed. I'm no longer in Durban, where I was unfortunate, and moving to Newcastle, it was even worse, because that's where I encountered a rapist again, when I was sent by my sister-in-law to fetch some sewing material, because she was a dressmaker, Mahatebe. And after I came back, after fetching that, I became like very curious to look into the parcel that I'm carrying, and I found this reversible razor. It's a destructible. You can screw it and it comes out. Yeah, yeah. That razor was quite a sharp razor, and for whatever reason, maybe in my mind, there was that sense of defending myself. I'm not sure. But I took that razor blade and I put it inside the jersey, a long jersey, Miriam, a long jersey. The skirt was also long. So even the myth whereby people claim that you are raped because you are sexy, it's not true. Because the question that I have is that what is the 2-year, is a 10-year, is a 2-month baby, is an old gogo of 99 years sexy? The answer is no. Was I sexy when I was found by a rapist? I wasn't sexy at all. I wasn't showing. The skirt was this long, no arms out, nothing. Everything was locked internally with the jersey that I was wearing. And then when he pushed me to the ground, and took off his pants. Immediately he was erected and he forced his penis inside me. I heard a voice, Miriam.
All right, so we've just lost Zodwa there for a moment. She was sharing her story with us of how she was brutally raped multiple times as a child, as a teenager, as well as an adult. If you have any comments, you may leave them in the comment section, or you can send them to us on WhatsApp. The number is 0617660355. It is 11:39. You are listening to the Mariam Mukonda Show on Salam Media. And we are breaking the silence on gender-based violence, on sexual abuse and rape, because it is the 60 days of activism. But also, when I get to chat to Shuhaida Adam from Islamic Careline a little later on, would like to find out if campaigns such as the 60 days actually help in resolving the problem that we have with GBV and femicide, especially in South Africa. Zodwa, are you there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Thank you.
All right. I think you were about to tell us about the voice that
Yes.
you had. You were going to defend yourself.
Yes. So for whatever reason, I grabbed this knife, this retractable razor, and I put it on my jersey. There he comes, and I heard a voice. Oh, that's where I was to say. I heard a voice telling me that I must tell him that somebody is looking at us. He said, hey, I said, somebody is looking at us. When he turned his head, trying to look, immediately, in a twinkle of an eye, wink of an eye, lightning is too late. I grabbed this knife and this razor and I cut him. Whether it was cut completely, but the blood spilled over me and the plastic that I was grabbing, because the plastic was around my hand. I had tied the plastic, on my hand. I ran for my life. When he was busy, I don't know what he was doing. I did not even care. But what I know is that he did not enjoy, or he did not get the satisfaction that he wanted to get at that time. I ran for my life. These very little legs they carried me home. And upon my arrival, I went to the tap. There was a tap. I tried to wash my hands. I was so scared. And then I entered the house. And I want to believe that my sister-in-law saw some strange thing on my face because he asked, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yes, I'm fine." He said, "Are you sure you are okay?" I said, "Yes." I rushed quickly I proceeded to the bedroom where I put the plastic and quickly went to the bathroom now because I wanted to wipe the blood, and I wiped the blood because I had those stains, Even the tap outside could not help me. And then I went back to the kitchen to hand over the parcel that I went to fetch from section 5.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Okay. Zodwa, time is not on our side at the moment, but you're an author now. So why did you choose to write a book to tell your story?
well, if I have to count the number of incidences, and including those that I haven't mentioned, of being kidnapped for 2 weeks, being raped as well, hitting, insulted for what I have not done, and after that, the serial killer also showed me the dead bodies of dead women. I realized, you know what? I've heard people that are saying, my husband left me, or my husband or my boyfriend is beating me. I've raped, but only once, or twice. Then I said, why should I be quiet? Because I've survived these traumatic experiences, and my head has always been lifted high. And maybe let me write a book to help that person who is in the corner there, who cannot be able to talk for himself and who doesn't know how to heal, because they have got a number of nuggets. I'm talking to mothers, I'm talking to perpetrators, I'm talking to victims, of rape and molestation. I'm talking to the government. I'm talking to men, because Miriam, I must be honest with you. It's not all men that rape. I'm married by a husband who's so loving. When somebody is to love you and you ask yourself, where on earth is this man coming from to love me so much? And knowing all that, I decided, no, let's now go into the path for somebody not to forget about my story, but he can read, learn, develop, come out victoriously after reading my story. So my story base, the book contains hope. It contains a lot of things that you want to get to lift your head after having been looking down upon yourself, low self-esteem, there is a lot. There are many reasons for me to write this book, but basically it's to help somebody out there who is display, who is finding it very hard to enjoy what has happened in her life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Zodwa, please stay with us. We need to take a break, but we'll be right back.
Okay.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media, coming to you live from South Africa.
Osman's Taj Mahal, spiced and rice. For over 80 years, Osman's Taj Mahal have been perfecting the art of the perfect blend of spices, pure, aromatic, and well-seasoned. Spices to tantalize your taste buds. From creative cuisines to gastronomical gourmet goodies. From exotic odors to traditional dishes, Osman's Taj Mahal have remained synonymous with spices and condiments. Taj Mahal rice, beans, and lentils. Try our range of chili bite mixes, rose and elaichi syrup, our quick and easy biryani pack, and our traditional range of spice blends. Osman's Taj Mahal, there is no substitute for quality.
From the townships of South Africa,
And also
refugee in Syria, or orphanages in Yemen, the eyes of the needy speak volumes with just one glare. We know what it's like to be at ground zero. with food essentials, clothing and blankets, fresh water portal trucks, and even on-site navigators. We use every cent to better their tomorrow. Become part of our journey to bring relief to all. Go to www.ashrafulaid.org or call us on 011-809-8181. Ashraful Aid, under the auspices of Maulana Suhail Wadi.
DusiMed Medicine Depot, retail pharmacy and emergency medical depot. Conveniently situated in the DusiMed Medical Center, corner Burger and Bosser Street, Pietermaritzburg. We provide safe, affordable and convenient medical facilities. Open till 10 p.m. every day of the year. We have a full house clinic that operates from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., which is run by a qualified sister. The clinic offers immunization, vaccination, wellness, general consultation, and more. Call DusiMed Medicine Depot on 033 3421 DusiMed Medicine Depot, your pharmacy of choice.
This is Salam Media, and you are tuned into the Miriam Makunda Show.
Welcome back. You are listening to the Miriam Makunda Show on Salam Media, and we are breaking the silence on sexual abuse and rape. Listening to the story of Zodwa Dlamini, who is a survivor and also an author who decided to write a book to share her story. And Zodwa, thank you for staying with us, but I've had requests for you to share your story about, to take us back to the serial killer part. People want to hear a little bit about what happened when you were abducted and you were showed bodies of your victims.
Okay, though many more details are in the book, are outlined very clearly in the book. I'll just summarize. It was after we were now in Fulo. We had left from where I was abducted by the taxi owner, the very, very gruesome kind of a man who was ruthless. That was after that 2 weeks kidnap. I was standing actually at the gate waiting for my sister. I'll call her my sister because she's a distant family member. And then she went to purchase a fat cooks, after cleaning. We used to reward ourselves with some lunch. They have snookfish and achar. So she went to purchase that, and I was at the gate. Right when I was there, cars are passing by. It's in full close and opposite area to cinema. It's a very, very busy place. And something hit me. I don't know what it was, and with what the man hit me with. And then immediately he grabbed me. Even my shirt that I was wearing, it got torn. He pushed me into the car immediately. When I was in the car, he drove off. When somebody is driving to an extent that you can't even tell whether the place is close or it's far away, but he's driving just to distort where you are coming from until he entered a bushy area with long trees. It's a forest, if I may say. It's a forest, a very strange area to me. He got in there, but I heard a voice that said, just tell him that you love him. I told him, I love you. I've never loved a man like I love you. Remember when I am, as I'm sitting here in the car, he took the gun. It was a great, beautiful gun. And as he was driving, I'm hearing this voice. I love you. And then I started telling him. I told him until I realized he's being agitated. When he parked the car right in this forest, he opened the door. He was able to open his door, but I wasn't. Then when I was old, I realized, it means it was a child locker. And then he opened the door. He came by the passenger side. Then he opened the door from the outside. After opening, he started beating me. He beat me, kicked me, fell down and stood. He pushed me to a small little pathway. You could see that there is a path. Somebody has been walking to and fro here. It's beginning to be a pathway. Just when he pushed me, oh my goodness, what am I seeing with my eyes? I see dead bodies. These people are dead. These are women. They're wearing bright clothes, yellow, red. You know, it took me years before I could, you know, like or dress a bright colors. Because I was also wearing a white skirt and a shirt skirt. It did not even belong to me because I was poor. I did not have many clothes. I was wearing Juliet's clothes at the time. And he pushed me. I started counting and I stopped counting. I kept on telling him like I'm like a beggar. You know those that the paras on the street when they are begging for a meal. I was begging like that. They always remind me of the posture and the gestures that I did to this guy. I was begging. I was saying, oh, I love you. I was even papata in Zulu. I don't know, clapping hands, not really clapping, but, you know, to say I'm desperate for life. I'm desperate. I love you. Thank you so much. You know. And then he pushed me. After that, he pushed me. And I kept on saying, I love you. I love you. I've never loved a man. And he pushed me into the car now because we are close to the car. He pushed me to the car. And when I opened, it didn't open. How come the car is opening when he opens, but it doesn't open when I open? And then he was, just when he entered the driver's seat, he was already erect. My goodness, he says to me, take off my under trouser. I said, who's going to take off my panty? You. How can you dare answer that way to somebody who has shown you his victims? Or before that, he said to me, sooner or later you are gonna be like this. You know. Oh my goodness. I was Miriam. Yeah. But then after that, he was on me. He was on me, raped me. Said after that I must wipe him. I asked him, who's going to wipe me? I mean, only now that I'm sober, I'm an adult, I'm asking myself, how did I say the things that I said when I had seen? I could have died if I didn't tell him I love him. I could have died if I resisted. I would have died if I didn't. Even after he raped me, I'm saying, thank you so much. I've never been treated this nice. Thank you so much. And he shot the gun, on the air. And after that, he says to me, Samaya, because he was a Sotho speaking me, or maybe he knew Sotho, I'm not sure. Then he said to me, Samaya, go away. And I said, yeah, but I love you. In case you want me, please come and take me where you found me. And then he shot again. I thought maybe he was shooting me. Maybe I'm dead already. I didn't believe that I was alive. Until I escaped, I was bumping myself against the cheese. I was getting into a mud, running for my life until I could see him no more. And I fell, in one mother's yard, I would say, because she was the only one in the house. I jumped over the fence and I fell there. The door was opened. I screamed. And he came. She said to me, did they rape you, Wanaka? My child, did they rape you? I said, no, ma. And afterwards, she says, can I pour water for you? I said, yes. Can you imagine? She's asking if she can pour water. I'm saying yes. But when she asked me, did they rape you? I'm saying no. These two things, I was so ashamed to say yes. She gave me pour water in a basin. I washed my face. I washed my face only, not anywhere else. I was scared of touching myself, but I was dirty. Then he organized. He asked me, where do you stay? I told him, I stay in the 4th house from the Shabalala. Shabalala was near there. By then, I say, because that is the only way I could explain where I stayed. To say I stay 4th house from the from Shabalala, who was the mayor, because his house was at the corner. It was a corner house. And then he hired a taxi for me, and then the guy dropped me. But I was so scared. I held her tight when I had to part with her getting into the taxi now, because I didn't know whether I'm now entering into the hands of another perpetrator, But fortunately, he just dropped me there, and I asked him not to drop me by the whole house where I stayed. So he dropped me downwards, Then, foolishly, I'm not sure what was happening in my mind. I can't even explain. Instead of entering the gate from where I'm sure I feared. I was engulfed by fear. I started jumping, the houses, the fences of the houses that separated, our house from the other houses. I jumped. I remember one house had dogs. They never even barked at me, for that matter. And then I entered the house. When I entered the house, after that, it's when I took out the garments, the dresses, the skirt and the shirt that I was wearing, put it in a plastic. I threw it under the bed. Then I proceeded to the dining room, because it was the time for the news. I sat there. Normally, when we were watching TV, we used to not we would not put lights, because that we were struggling. The TV would lose color and become black and white. So the best way was to switch off the lights. And when the lights were off, there is the program on TV. It is they used to call it Abangongozi. It's when they would show people that are wanted, I'm seeing this guy. He's tall. But when I look at the face on TV, it's the same guy. Am I dreaming? It's the same guy that actually raped me, that took me. Oh my word. And they're saying he's killing women and he's raping. My goodness, I froze. I was so numb. In any way, I did not believe, Miriam and the viewer listeners, that I was still alive. That's when I made the decision, no, I'm going back home. I have to go back home. Life is not, I'm not doing anything here. I'm not schooling. I'm not working. Life is not good. It's giving me, a rape. It's giving me death. It's giving me a grave. I'd rather go back home. Even if I'm not wealthy, I don't have money to show, because I was in Johannesburg. Probably they would expect somebody who's rich. And I said, no, it's high time that I go back home. I'd rather go back home. I made a decision, and I told the family that, no, I'm leaving. But then again, I did not leave there and there. It took time before I could leave. I had to prepare and get, have money to go back home and. But it was, my life was terrible. My life it's a horrific life that I've lived. Because even when I reported, remember, I didn't even tell. I didn't tell anyone in the house. They didn't know. They will see it. They will read it from the book. But the guy that had abducted me, he came to abduct me again. That's when they got so confused to say, no, what is happening? And for that reason, I had to go and report the matter to the police station. They said, no, we can't believe this. We can't, because it is only then that I disclosed. Actually, they chased me because he was going around shooting, not the serial killer. I'm talking about the taxi man now, because he was an owner of taxis. So he came to, oh my goodness. The family was so angry towards me. They were not understanding at all that this person has adopted me. He came forcefully in the house, and he grabbed me into the car. Second time around, I'm talking about the taxi now, where he placed me in his house and lied about what I had done. And I didn't understand what he said I did. He was talking about Kaiser Chiefs. He was talking about Orlando Pirates. And because Sheila saw that it was this man that had adopted me, he organized some men to come and fetch me, because they knew where this man stayed after I had told them, "Ukuthi, this is the man that had abducted me." So fast forwarding to now, the family saying, "No, we don't leave. There's never been anything like this on earth. You have to do something to show that there is no relationship that you have with this man." I agreed. I said, "It's fine." They organized that I should go to the police station. I went to Moroka police station where I reported the case. I opened a file. And then until the day for the case, for the proceeding of the case came. Guess what happened? I was placed. The officer said, "No, sit here." It's like they are saying, sit at court number 8, when they know very well that the court this case is going to be held in court number B. So I sat there as a stooge. I'm talking now when the day of court, when it was the day of court, only to find that afterwards I'm being called by this officer. He's handling a file. He's calling my name. Zodwa Xagaza. I was not married. I was still a youth at that time, and he's calling my name, Zodwa Xagaza, Zodwa Xagaza. And then I stood there. Nobody accompanied me. I was all by myself here because, it's a taboo thing. They can't believe. But I still have to go to Moroka police station just to get that case number because I want to have that as an evidence. And then he says to me, the court has been adjourned. Proceedings happened at court number and they've been calling for you. But then I said, no. But another officer told me to sit here because they will call me when it is my time. Oh my goodness! I went back so disappointed. I felt like everybody could see what is wrong with me. I went home and I told them that the proceedings happened in another court. I was sitting and an officer came to me to say the court has been adjourned, and he was acquitted. He got acquitted the same day, Miriam and the listeners. He was on the road. He was on the street, up and down, shooting and hailing. I'm sure he was being excited. He was celebrating that he won, but he won without me. I was in another court outside, and the court proceedings were happening in another room.
Zodwa, how can people get a copy of your book? I mean, there's a lot to share, and obviously time is not on our side right now.
I know. Well, the book will be found in exclusive bookshop, I believe in Amazon as well as the Take a Lot. We are still negotiating, but the launch is on the 23rd. That is where I would say hard copies will be obtained. But for people to do pre-orders, I will also give to you the link where they can do the pre-orders for the book.
All right. And the title of the book?
The title of the book is Unbroken. Unbroken.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And may you remain unbroken, victorious, overcomer, and as well as inspirational to those who have been through what you have been through, or who have similar situations. And good luck with your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. Sorry, Miriam, I just want the listeners to know that, today I am a manager of managers in a very reputable company.
Wow.
My life, I did not allow the experiences to bury me alive.
Yes.
I spoke to my future, and my future came alive, and here I am. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for coming on board and sharing your story with us. And have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Miriam. You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, that was the story of Zodwa Dlamini, sharing her ordeal with us of how she was raped multiple times from a young child up until an adult, and she has since turned her life around. And as you just heard, she did not let her
past determine who she is going to be. And she is now a manager at a reputable company as well as an author. Her book, Unbroken, will be launched on the 23rd, and it is available online for e-copies. John Maplin says, thank you for sharing your story, sister. Your account is testament to the flaws within the justice system of capitalism. And indeed, I mean, look what happens when you have money. You know, as they say, money talks. You can just flash the money that you have and people will be acquitted from their crimes. That is very unfortunate. But thank you to Zodwa for sharing her story. And we are breaking the silence on gender-based violence, sexual violence, and rape and femicide. This is a problem that needs to be dealt with immediately. And I don't know if 16 days of activism is helping with this problem that we are facing as a country. For further comments, please leave them in the comments section or send them to us on WhatsApp. The number is 0617660355. We will be right back after the break.
It's a new beginning. It's a new era. Salam Media, humanitarian journalism.
As the crisis in Yemen